Maybe you feel like sometimes you need to get to work, but there's something stopping you. You might not even know what it is, but you might feel tired, hungry, unmotivated, and unfocused. And during those times, you probably want to push your work off to the next day because you know that at least you'll feel refreshed when you wake up in the morning. But the thing is, like, you don't have to waste any of those days. There are 5 simple biohacking habits that I found to completely reset how you feel, and it's almost like resetting the day. If you don't know what biohacking is, it's basically just changing your body state to change the state of your mind. In previous videos, I tried out some biohackers routines, and even though some of them require some gadgets or supplementation, I found 5 simple habits that you can do without any supplementation or money that can help you feel focused and incredible immediately. So number 1 is deliberate cold exposure. The best version of this is an ice bath, but it's kind of hard to get access to. Like, most of the time I just take a cold shower, which has the same effect, but you kind of have to stay in there for longer. If you've never taken a cold shower before, then just go try one after this video because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Once you take a cold shower, you'll feel in a completely different state of mind, and that really persists for hours after taking that cold shower.
The biggest effect is a big increase, 2.5x increase in dopamine that lasts for several hours. It's a significant increase. You feel mentally clear, you feel alert.
If you don't have access to an ice bath or it's too hard to get into a cold shower, there's also the second option, which is what I usually do, and that's to go outside and go for a run. The immediate effect is that it just elevates my heart rate and gets blood pumping to my brain. So after about like 20 or 30 minutes of running and listening to a podcast, I can get into a state of flow. And afterwards, it just makes me feel incredibly motivated to get back to work. Just having like a quick 30-minute run or sometimes even a walk can just change how you feel. But if taking an ice bath is too hard and you don't want to go for a run, there's another thing that you can do, which is called Wim Hof breathing. So basically there's this guy named Wim Hof, and he kind of like lives in the mountains, I think. He runs in like super icy mountains with nothing but a pair of shorts. There's been like some people who try to do what he does, but it didn't like turn out too well.
I didn't know what to wait. Oh, yeah. Catch your breath. I don't want to do it.
He says that he can withstand these pretty extreme temperatures by training and conditioning his body through these breathing techniques, and he's known for this one specific technique that's named after him, which is the Wim Hof technique. I remember reading that scientists actually study him in the lab because he's able to turn on and off his immune system through this breathing technique. They injected him with a virus and they told him to like turn on his immune system, and he could control when his body actually attacked that virus, which is pretty incredible. But this is actually like super simple to do. You just have to type like Wim Hof breathing into YouTube, and then you just follow along the breathing techniques, and you can feel very different just after like a 10 or 15-minute session.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
And usually I do this when I feel kind of sick or I can't get into a flow state. It's kind of like meditation,
but on steroids.
But besides these 3 things that you can do to immediately feel incredible, there's also 2 daily habits that I do to kind of like increase my baseline of focus. The first one is super simple, and it's just to drink 2 liters of water. Drinking enough water is actually a tip for a lot of people who are trying to lose weight, because a lot of times you actually mistake the feeling of being hungry with the feeling of being thirsty. And so your body would like try to eat more food just to make up for more water content. And if you eat more food, it causes like a glucose spike. And when that glucose spike crashes, then you feel super tired and unmotivated. So definitely if you're trying to focus, try not to eat stuff. And the next one is pretty simple, and it's something that you can just do in the morning, which is to view super bright light. The best bright light is just the sun, so obviously the best thing you can do is just like go out for a walk when you wake up. But sometimes when it's like super cold or it's like raining, it's kind of hard. So I have these like artificial lights that is kind of like mimics daylight, and I use those instead. Ever since I've been doing this consistently, I feel like my energy levels have been more consistent, especially in the mornings. It helps me wake up faster. Yeah, I think there's just something about like if you have super bright light, it's just easier to focus because your brain's just alert because it's daytime. There are times where I would struggle with procrastination and pushing my work off to the next day just because I don't feel optimal. And even like some days I feel like would be wasted because I don't have enough focus to get my work done. But after I understood these habits and I wrote them down as like things I could do whenever I felt unmotivated or tired, really like dramatically transform my productivity and focus. I could just do them as like sort of a quick fix to get back into that state of flow. There was one specific time where these habits were super helpful for me, and it was last year when I caught the virus. Some people don't feel much symptoms, but for me, I was feeling super tired. I had brain fog. It was like impossible to focus. And so I tried like every possible solution to shock my nervous system and re-energize myself. I found that the only things that helped during that time was like taking a super cold shower, going out for a run, and doing that breathing technique. And I pretty much like just do that on repeat every single day. And I also made sure to be drinking like a ton of water and viewing light at certain times so I'm not sleeping during the day. And because of that, even though I was like super sick and I had these symptoms, I was still able to like function and do work without taking 2 weeks to just like not do anything. If you have other habits that you do, definitely share them with me. I would love to try them. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.